According to a legend of the Cree who lived in the Lake of the Woods region before the Chippewa, the lake was created by one of their lesser gods in a fit of whimsy. They say it is a magic lake. Its waters are of many colors, sometimes blue, sometimes tawny, sometimes the color of black tea, sometimes thick, like green pea soup. It is said that the Wendigo who created this lake became enamored with his handiwork, so he transformed himself into the image of a rock, so that he might forever live to marvel at what even a lesser god can do when the spirit is strong within him. "I'll make a garden of this lake," said the Wendigo, and he did. From the land of the Sioux, he brought maples and planted them among the northern pines. Amid the shrubs and grasses that sleep through the long winters, he mixed alien shrubs to remind him of lands of earlier springs. On the most barren of all of his islands, he planted cactus, whereof winter nights the trees are driven by the intense cold. "I'll hide treasure in this lake," said the Wendigo, and he did. He salted the shores and islands with rare minerals like silver, beryl, mica, feldspar, zinc blende, galena, antimony, iron, cobalt, and fool's gold. He was a clever spirit, this Wendigo, and an odd one. It is said that on summer nights when the thunderclaps climb like pillars of Mantuba Manitou above the mirrored lake, one can still hear his sardonic laughter reverberating among the hills. "I'll make a maze of this lake," he said, "to mix up those who might seek to drive my people from it. I will place puzzles here that will perplex people forevermore." And he did. He made the lake so wildly different, from north to south, from east to west, from top to bottom, that some people called it Lake of the Sand Hills, some Whitefish Lake, and others Lac aux Ailes. In saying these names, some meant a separate part, and some the whole thing together. This 3-in-1, the Wendigo bounded by the crookedest shoreline in the land of the Cree, Chippewa, and Assiniboine, together, a winding, twisting, separated shoreline of bays, jutting rocky cliffs, inlets, and crafty cul-de-sacs where an intruder can easily become lost. And to confuse them even more, he scattered magnetic ore among the shores to mess with the compasses of the white man. Then, in a final turn of weird glee, the Wendigo filled the upper lake so full of islands that there were more islands than lake, more rock than water, more trees than waves. This lake was so madly made that it wasn't a lake at all, but a maze of narrow channels winding amid forests and walls of rock. "As many as the leaves of autumn," said the Cree of the islands in the lake. "As many as the stars of a winter's night," said the Coeur de Bois. The Wendigo, by then perhaps, had transformed himself into a rock. When the white man finally came to this lake, whose islands were as many as the leaves of autumn and the stars of a winter night, they added the final touch of the Wendigo's whimsy. Instead of calling it the Lake of the Islands, they called it the Lake of the Woods. Our lake. Enchanting, mysterious, comforting, threatening, and wondrous are just some of the words used to describe our Lake of the Woods. And yet we, of this lake, must admit that sometimes we take it all for granted. And then a squall rises, thunder booms, or a gorgeous rainbow appears, and we stop our work and we play to marvel at the beauty and serenity of where we are and acknowledge that we are blessed. Now motivated to explore, we climb into our watercrafts to visit friends on distant islands or head for a sandy beach or to hunt for that elusive muskie. Water sports abound as kayaks and canoes glide stealthily through the waves while water skiers and wakeboarders zoom in and out amongst the islands. Still others find peace and camaraderie casting from their boats for pickerel and bass, and thus we explore our lake in modern times with modern means, but it was not always so. And yet, deep in our hearts and minds, we recognize that it's folly to take everything that this wonderful lake offers and not care for it in return. Perhaps the legend of the Wendigo, the lake creator, will remind us all of the balance that we must achieve between humans and nature. The future of clean water, plentiful fish and wildlife, healthy vegetation is squarely in our hands, and maybe, just maybe, the Wendigo is watching over us.